Desert Island Discs.
Welcome to this very special edition of Desert Island Discs. On the program today, as always, we have incredible folks with interesting life stories. For purposes of the conversation tonight, I request that I put my mask off so that I'm audible and clear. Again, for reasons you'll get to know later on the program, I am where the medicine is. So perhaps I'm not as scared as you, but again, I must observe all the standard operating procedures without any compromise. On the program, we have the pleasure of hosting the man in the eye of the news, Dr. Patrick Ogwang. Now, if that sounds a bit strange to you, maybe I would say Dr. Kovidex. You know, there's been quite a bit of buzz about this wonder drug that is knocking COVID-19 perhaps off the face of this country, and we are praying that it does so. The brain behind it, the man accredited to its success, is on the program this evening to share his life story. Welcome to the program, Dr. Patrick Ogwang.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon Kasyate.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the program, but most importantly, it's just to meet a very humble man, a far cry from the huge name that you've created for yourself, if for nothing else, in the last couple of weeks. Must be feeling a bit of a daunting task on you.
But meeting you makes me much happier because you know, I first listened to Desert Island Disc when I was still a child. I think it used to be run by William Pike.
Yes, many years
And
ago.
I remember listening to Gino Salim Saleh.
Yes.
And I really admired. I don't know that today God will give me a chance to also listen, to be in the Desert Island Disc.
What you have been doing over the years has earned you the slot to be down here.
Yeah, thank you.
And very specifically, let's talk about Kovidex. I mean, you're the man on whom many hopes lie.
Yes.
Patience, perspective, and real humanity, perhaps, is looking at your formula to get relief from this devastating disease. Where are we with this Kovidex? What is Kovidex? Let's start from there.
So Kovidex, I should say, is a gift from God, I should say. Because first, it's made from nature, material that we find in nature. Interestingly, those two main plants seem to be found only in Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya.
What plants are these?
One of them is called Xanthoxylum chalibium or Gilleti. They are two sisters in one family. Then the other one is called Wabuga ugandensis. It even has the name of Uganda on it.
Okay, now those are the botanical names.
Yes.
In our local language.
In our local language, in Ateso, we call one Eusuk. You know, there's a country called Wusuk.
Yeah, Wusuk, yes.
It used to be full of that plant. Up to now, it's still there, Wusuk.
My goodness.
In Runyankole, it's called Mutatembwa.
Mutatembwa.
In Buganda, it's called Entale Dungu, something like that.
Entale Dungu.
Yes, so that's one of them. The other one, in our place, we call it Abach. In Runyankole, it's called Omweha. In Uganda, I think it's called Enkubeza something like that.
Enkubeza.
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
So those are the two main plants that actually I developed. I've studied them for over 17 years.
Studied them?
Yes, deeply for over 17 years.
What made you pick the interest in studying these particular plants only for them to show up 17 years later as wonder formula?
So I studied pharmacy for my bachelor's degree. And when we are doing pharmacy, there's a subject called pharmacognosy. Pharmacognosy is the study of drugs from natural sources. Now, all drugs that we have now originally have their origin in nature. Whether ARVs, whether antimalarials, whatever drug you may talk about, it has a link to nature.
Don't remind me of that bitter stuff we used to take for malaria.
Mululuza.
Oh.
Yes.
Quinine times 10.
So now, when I finished bachelor's degree, okay, I used to be good at a subject called pharmacognosy. My lecturer, Dr. Negi, really, and the late Kavuma liked me because of that subject. I just liked it. I think, why did I like it? Growing up with my mother, single parent, she always had those herbs. I grew up in the village. She always had those herbs above the fireplace.
up what would I pass for a chimney, but it's
it was a way of storage.
so, and they always had some bit of soot on them.
Exactly. So heat would go up, smoke would go up, and keep the medicine safe and fresh. So whenever I would have a sickness, whether it's measles, which is caused by a virus, whether it is malaria or stomach problems, she would go to that fireplace
And she knew exactly which
one to pick for what disease. There are not so many. And then she would scrub it, boil hot water, pour in the cup, give you to drink morning and evening. 2 days you're back to school.
as you are watching.
I mean, we were the patients.
And also the ones who run the errands sometimes.
Yes. And I remember whenever I used to go to clinics and hospitals frequently, the only disease I used to go to the hospital was pneumonia. Once in a while I would get, actually anemia. I think I would have less blood, then I would have problem breathing, some pain in my chest, in the lungs. That's the only thing that would take me to hospital. But other diseases, malaria, cough, whatever it was, diarrhea, man would put us from home.
Were you ever vaccinated against the so-called 6 killer diseases?
Definitely, because it was mandatory.
Okay.
But I remember when I was young, they were vaccinating people. I think I was about maybe 5 years, or I tried to run away from vaccination.
Yourself?
Yeah. And I remember the whole village chasing me to catch me to vaccination. So they caught me and brought me, and I was given, I think it was TB vaccination. So that's the event I remember when I was young.
The one that leaves an indelible mark on you.
Yes, but I tried to run as a young boy. And the entire village chased me and caught me.
Why were you running? The fear of the prick, or the fact that you trusted that you had enough immunity?
No, I think I was just fearing the prick when I was young. So definitely I had to go through vaccination. Vaccination is good because it protects us from many diseases.
Right over there. Let's go back to your interest in these particular 2 plants. You were talking about how you studied them for 17 years, but there must have been that one thing that triggered you to them.
Okay.
Or were you studying them among so many?
A good question. So I was working at natural chemotherapeutics. Now, I was saying that we studied them at school, but the problem with the school was that we were learning European medicines, European plants. So when you come out of the pharmacy school, you cannot apply. But when I was doing my master's, I joined the Natural Chemotherapeutics Research One Day led by Dr. Nambatia. I think you must have heard about her. She's a popular person.
Yes.
So I went to her one time. I was like, Dr. Nambatia, I like research in natural medicines. Can I get an opportunity to work here? I just wanted to volunteer. She was like, it's okay. We shall soon be recruiting people. President Museveni has given an order for us to recruit scientists. So then when they advertised, I applied, and I went on merit.
Wow.
And when I went there, I began interacting with the herbalists, Ugandan herbalists. I began interacting with the
herbalists or witch doctors? You know, sometimes you don't know where the line starts and stops.
Yeah, I think, you see, a witch doctor is someone who uses nature to cause harm to people.
For them it's harm.
Yeah, for them they cause harm.
But what about those who claim to give riches? Is that harm also? Or along the way there is harm, there is sacrifice?
I think the power to do it has the harm behind it.
So the others use nature to do harm?
Yes.
Herbalists?
Herbalists are those who use herbs or nature to improve somebody's life.
Wow.
And let me tell you, even the current pharmacists and medical doctors were herbalists before. You read the history of medicine, Hippocrates, all those people, they use herbs. So they're also herbalists anyway.
A man like Ian Fleming. Was it Ian Fleming or Alexander, the guy of penicillin?
Yes, they're all using nature by then. Yeah. So when I went to natural chemotherapy, that's when I began interacting with Ugandan plants. That's when it began making sense to me. I could now recall, oh, this Ewusuk, oh, this Abach, oh, this is this plant. Then I could recollect how we were using it when we were young. So working that place gave me the applicability of the class knowledge into Ugandan practical situation. So now, how did I begin to research on these 2 plants? Now, one of my half-brothers has a child who is a sickle cell person.
Oh dear.
So he used to do very badly when he was young. So I said, why can't I look for something to help this boy, this son of mine? So I began researching on that plant, Ewusuk, the entire Edungu,
exactly,
to help this boy. So when I read about it, one memory got, I read a paper by Nigerians that a similar plant in Nigeria is used to treat sickle cell. So I began studying it to look at safety, to look at the compounds in it, and I published papers on it. Then I made a formula for this young man to help him with the sickle cell. It doesn't cure, but this boy now is coming 30 years.
30 years?
Yes.
They don't normally make it past their teenager.
Yes, it's coming 30 years.
Without any other intervention?
No.
Except you are...
Exactly. And that medicine, that formula, I call it Jenna SM. But most of my people I call them Jenna because my mom was called Jenna.
Well, that's where that comes from.
Yes.
You will be telling us more.
Yeah.
But,
So I made this formula for this boy, and he stopped getting painful crises, swelling of the joints.
The joints, yes.
Now he has lived. He's not cured, but he's alive, and he's coping with life. So from there, people got to know that I had this medicine. So many children in Uganda, they are living because of these hands of mine.
Wow.
Many, very many actually.
So it started from there,
yes,
as a compound that could help with sickle cell anemia.
Yes.
And now, how then does it metamorphose in your...
Okay. So
COVID?
Yeah, so then, plants have several compounds in them.
True.
One plant can have over 200 compounds. They do different things. What's important, how you extract them and how you organize them to handle a particular disease. You get it, eh? So I discovered that also the same plant has compounds that kill malaria parasites.
Really?
The same plant has compounds that kill viruses.
Wow.
So now how did it come to Kovidex or COVID? Knowing that this plant has antiviral properties, which in the village used for measles, and even certain coughs is also used for COVID. Most of the cough sometimes is viral, not bacterial. At the early stage, it is viral, most of the viruses, herpes and so on. So knowing that this plant has effects against viruses, so I thought that this thing, since also COVID is a virus, the two could be linked. Now, one of my friends, a professor in the university, I'm done inviting him to come to Bara University. When I met him in Uganda here, we had a chat with him. I'm like, you know what? Come and help us to begin a new program.
A Ugandan?
Yes, it's an American.
Oh, an American.
But he had to come. He had to leave everything and come to Bara University.
Wow.
To help us begin a new program called clinical pharmacy. He came without pay. And then one time he came for burial of my uncle. And then on the way, shared a car with somebody who had COVID. And then he got COVID.
Oh dear. This recent?
Yeah, the first wave.
The first wave, yes.
And then he was badly off. Actually, he was admitted in hospital. I called him. I'm in Kampala. I'm like, please pick ambulance and let them bring you to Bara quickly. Reaching there at around 2 a.m., they had been taken to hospital and put on oxygen.
You must have felt a personal guilt.
It was a personal guilt for me. I asked myself, if this American dies here, he has come on his own. He has no father, he has no mother, he has no family here. If this man dies here, how am I going to handle it? It was really a heavy pain on my heart. Every time I go to see him in hospital, my heart was really... I knelt down and prayed for that man. But one day God put in my heart that formula there, which you are using for wounds in the mouth, dental caries, could help this man. Because COVID, first and foremost, it stays in your nose and in your throat. That's where it multiplies itself from initially. Before it goes down to the lungs, yeah. Yes. So if you can handle it from your throat and your nose, you weakened it. So I told Professor, I may have many formulas. This formula, I use it for another purpose, but it's just antiviral properties. You use it in addition to your other medicines in the hospital. Drop it in your mouth 3 times a day. So I gave him like on Monday, then I come to Kampala. So Wednesday he calls me that Professor Ogwang, I'm much better. And I think I'll be discharged on Friday. I was surprised. It was the first patient of COVID I gave that medicine. And then Friday, actually, I've been discharged.
Okay.
Within just a spell of about 4 days.
And he was only dropping it in the mouth?
In the mouth.
Not even in the nose?
Not in the nose, just in the mouth. So I go on Saturday, he had been discharged, went and paid his bills. And his language was getting deteriorating. And the scan showed it had actually improved. In fact, the other day was like, Professor, my lung is now okay.
Wow.
So then his colleague with whom he shared the car also had gotten COVID. But he was not in hospital. So he called me that, Professor, I'm told you have something that I said, Professor Tamkong. Sorry to mention his name. Yeah, it was like, can I also come up? Please, Sylvan, you come for it. He's also a pharmacist himself. He came, I gave him also 2 bottles. But the other professor used only 1 bottle. The 1 bottle was enough.
Only 1 bottle.
I can realize that 7 bottles was an overestimate. You need just 3 or 5 is enough if you are very sick.
5 bottles?
Is enough, yeah, to recover. Wow. So Sylvan also takes it, and then quickly he recovers, and he tests negative.
Wow.
That was last year, December. And then COVID went down, so I forgot the formula. I forgot following it up.
You said, well, that's okay.
Okay. Now, this year in March, a certain friend of mine called Petronila, she stays in Entebbe. I normally give her my medicine for different diseases, malaria, cough, and so on. She was like, Professor, don't you have something for COVID? My friend is badly off, he's no oxygen, and the father is just crying. He's a manager in one of the banks in Kampala. I'm like, you know what? There's a formula I'm developing, but I'm not formulated it and labeled it and so on. But you go to my small lab in Entebbe where they're making it current. I had already a lab in the lab making those medicines. Go to the lab, I'm going to instruct the boys who are there what to mix for you. So she just drove there. I told the boys, pick this, and mix like this, give us 6 bottles. There was no even label. I'm like, you know me, just trust me and go with it to the patient. If they accept, good. She carried it without a label, gave to the father that this medicine, I know the person who makes it, just try it. 2 days, she said to me that for Professor, their patient is out of oxygen. 3 days more, the patient has been discharged. I told then I assembled my PhD team.
Your team in
at Mbarara. Because National Minister Lyoda, or Minister of Science and Technology, you see, when COVID began, government called on scientists to come forward and be supported. I was one of those who came forward to be supported, but I was ignored at the beginning. I was left out actually out of the team. That people were giving money, I wasn't giving money. But Dr. Lyoda, the minister then, he knowing me very well, called me, said, Professor Ogwang, I know your work is good. You could help us with this problem. I know you have not gotten money, but we have some small money for you. Please come. And at first I said, I'm tired. I don't want to go for this government money because there's a little bit of segregation. So, but my colleagues urged me that please apply. So I assembled a team and then wrote a small proposal to validate, to test this formula. We had 3 formulas we were going to test, 3 of them. So when Lyoda gave us money around April this year, I could delay to come. So I had to first order for reagents, standards to run this thing. Then when the money came, we began now working around beginning of June. June this year. So I assembled my team. There's Oloro Joseph, he's a PhD student of pharmacology. Ajay Clement is from Nigeria. There's Angupale Jimmy, he's from Arua. He's doing also PhD under me. And then there's a young boy called Kawa Ivan. He's doing his master's under me. So I said, you people, we don't have time now. They have treated 3 people with this thing and it has worked. COVID has started. We need to generate new data to submit to NDA, afresh. So in 2 weeks, we had to begin collecting all the data on the phytochemistry, on the chemistry, on the pharmacology, on the safety, all those things in 2 weeks. I pushed the students to work day and night, but they are smart students.
Of course.
Very
just
smart.
Like their teacher.
Very, very smart. So quickly, we put the data together. Now, time was running out. Now, then, I think within that time, my cousin in Namgongo called Andrew Biao sent me up the message on my phone, said, like, Professor, we are dying. Me, my wife, and my daughter, we are all down with the COVID. I said, what is it? So I called my cousin, and I was busy in the lab. So the day went without me sending them medicine. They fully were like, Patrick, if you don't raise us, we're going to die. Then Sarah, so the lady called Sarah, she called me herself, the wife, said, Doctor, help us, we are going to die. And she could not even say, I'm even on oxygen, I can't even talk. I almost cried. So a cousin called me, please, doctor, help Sarah if you have something, they are going to die. So they called the cousin. I said, please go to Entebbe quickly. By then we started producing for lab testing. Go to Entebbe, there are some samples there. We are testing the lab. Take for Andrew 15 bottles. Let Sarah have 3, the digital and him 3. The following day, Andrew posted me a message saying that, Professor, I'm out of danger, I think. Just after 24 hours.
What?
I feared to call the wife because I knew the wife was on oxygen. I'm like, I don't want to call Sarah, she's dying. So I called Sarah after 2 days. I was shocked. The lady who had no energy, the lady who was talking while crying with the voice of a dying person, was thanking God and thanking me and having life inside her.
Oh my goodness.
I said, Lord, these are now 6. I told myself, no one thing, now this is 6 people we have treated. Move quickly, look for this compound, run this toxicity study, run this phytochemical analysis. So I formed 3 teams and these people worked. So I wrote to NDA, I sent NDA email that we are working on something quickly. As soon as I finish collecting data, I'll send for information so you can have it notified or registered. Then I think it was on a Friday or Saturday the other week. There's a forum for ITESO, Professional Education Forum. And they post saying that, Professor, tell us what you're researching on and anything on COVID. So I just type a WhatsApp message. I'm like, I've been developing drugs from this ABCD, and I'm working on Kovidex for Corona. Then they begin circulating it around.
Oh, that's the message we
Yes! Oh my goodness. That one now just brought, I don't know, I want to, maybe like people say hell on earth, but I call it heaven on earth. But it was just went viral. And then somebody posted the bottle. I think one of the patients I treated posted the bottle. Oh, now it became problems for me. People began calling me, I'm dying of COVID, I'm doing what? I said, but we're not submitted to NDA yet. But people are dying. Then I said, what do we do now? So somehow I organized my team. I told my team what to do. Let us, I'm already producing this thing from Kampala, but the demand is going to overwhelm Kampala. Let us open another production line in a university. I show you how to produce it so that we can have two production areas. But somehow it was not accepted.
By who?
Let me just leave it like that.
Okay.
So I told my team, no one thing. They have stopped us from producing this product from here. Let me head to Kampala and strengthen the production line in Kampala, because I cannot see Ugandans die like this. So I jumped on my pickup. On Saturday, I drove to Kampala and I came. I just told my friend, no one thing. Let's just switch on the increased production. So we began now producing. That very Saturday, I got a call from NDA. Professor, we want to meet you on Monday. I said, now, I know NDA. They're going to close me down immediately. They're going to close my factory because I'm not even about this product.
Yet everyone is talking about
People are talking about it, helping people. So I had a friend. So Sunday morning, I was actually crying. I cried tears. I was crying, not because I don't want my factory to be closed. I was crying because people are going to die. Yet I could have saved them. I said, when NDA closed the factory, people are going. The good thing, that I think Friday, a friend of mine whose child was down with COVID, and another friend of ours was down with COVID, also took it, and the child got better within a few days. Wow. Even the other person was in ICU in Zambia. I think Zambia was improving. So I called her and I'm like, no one thing, my friend. On Monday, tomorrow, COVID will be normal. She's like, what, Patrick? I'm like, NDA is going to close us. She said, no, Patrick, this cannot happen. I was crying tears.
Who were you telling?
My friend, let me not mention her name. Okay. I was crying tears. Tears, an old man like me crying tears. She was like, Patrick, no. Let me see what I can do. In 2 hours, the president of Uganda was calling me.
The president of Uganda?
Yes.
Was on the phone?
HE. YK7 was calling.
So you saw a call?
I saw a call with several eights ending. I don't know.
You just picked?
I just picked. And the voice said, we are from the switchboard of the president.
Hold on.
They want to talk to you.
You first knelt down.
I said, God, you are good. So he talks to me. You know, he's an intelligent man, very experienced. He asked me so many questions.
Have you ever spoken to him in your life?
No, the first time, just like desert analyst is the first time desert analyst because of Kovidex.
But had you ever met him?
I met the person.
Personally,
yes,
like you are meeting me here.
No, when I was in S5 in St. Mary's College, Kisubi, you know, his son was also in Kisubi, Mohozi.
And just to give you a bit of comfort.
Yes.
I was there.
Okay, wow, you must have come after me.
Many years.
Okay. So I used to be with Mohozi in the same hall called Mugwanya House. So it was in S5.
Not a good house. It should have been Lodell.
No, Mugwanya is the best.
We'll have that quarrel when the cameras go off.
So it was in S6, I was in S5. And we're in the same long room.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I know the Mugwanya HSC block.
And you know, surprisingly, I took like 2 weeks to know that I was sleeping in the same room with the president's son.
You're kidding me. Was he that discreet? Or you were that busy reading?
No, I'm just a funny person. I get lost in my own things. That's me have that problem. When I focus on something, I don't know what's taking place in the environment. I can be in an office, I don't know that someone is pregnant. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, that's me. I'm just on my... when I focus on something, I forget everything. I'm just on this thing.
I have a feeling you don't know what people are saying about Kovidex.
I don't know because I've not watched TV for a long time. My WhatsApp is... So I don't know what people are saying exactly.
WhatsApp is off.
I just have a few messages. But help me. So one day, I had someone with a kaboot. Okay, this raincoat, and I'm shoes moving outside the dormitory. Around 2 a.m. So I woke up my friend Gabriel. Konya's reached here. I'm like, you know what? Konya's reached here because by then Konya was still tapping the door. I think Konya's reached here. I'm like, what? I'm like, there are soldiers moving outside our dormitory. But like, no, they're guarding the president. And I'm like, you mean the president has been listening to me? I'm like, yes, you mean don't. I'm like, I don't know. After like 2 weeks.
My goodness.
Yeah. So anyway.
That's the only time you ever met the president? In senior?
No. No. The son was in our room at that time. So when I met him, he had come for, I think it was PTA, okay, parents and teachers there. So I was one of the, I was one of the people who designed a very good experiment in physics. I did an experiment to generate electricity from oranges.
You're a strange man.
Yeah. So I was producing electricity from oranges, so I was selected to demonstrate to the president. So when he came, I put my 2 oranges there and electrodes and then the voltmeter to measure the voltmeter. So I could show him that, you see, when you connect this to this, you see current is flowing. Yeah, so that's how I met him that time.
And coming from that part of the country where oranges are growing
yes,
in abundance,
yes.
soon we may have an electricity
exactly, and my plan was that every home can plant the orange, and then we connect electrode to all the oranges, just break them, then you have electricity in the home. But now I'm no longer in physics and
now you're saving lives.
I'm now into medicine.
Let's go to the telephone of the president. And our listeners and viewers, you'll forgive us. This is a conversation where interrupting it with asking for a song to be played may not be quite a good idea. So let's proceed with this Kovidex story. Tell me.
So the president calls me. When he called me, I stopped crying. Because now I knew that, okay, now I have protection of the president. So he called me and asked me, are you Dr. Ogwang? I'm like, yes. Where are you from? Where were you born? All those things.
He took you through his version of Desert Island.
Yes. Then he was like, I'm told you say you made medicine for COVID. I'm like, yes, Mr. President. How do you know that it works? I gave him the history. How we used to know this plant when we were young, for treating measles, for treating cough.
He gave you that much time?
No, he listened to me. He's a very patient man and very kind, really. He listened to me, and he, at his age, he follows things to dot. I told him how we used to do when we were young, how I've been studying it for over 17 years in the lab, safety, active against malaria and other diseases, and how I'd made a formula for some disease. But last year, when COVID came to, my friends fell sick, I gave them and they recovered. This year in May, a friend called me, someone was badly off, I gave and he's recovered. Even just 2 days, 4 days ago, my own cousin and his wife and daughter were down totally. They also recovered. You know, like, okay, give me the numbers of those people. He's an intelligent man.
You gave him the numbers?
I gave the numbers of those people. And he called them himself. The president called them himself to establish truth. And told me I would call you the following day. Tomorrow I'll call you at 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock the following day, he called me. He asked me more questions. Science, now the science of the medicine. How does it work? What are the plans in this? I shared with him all those details. Then he asked me, what do you want now? What support do you want from me? I told him, Mr. President, I want security.
Did you feel insecure?
Yes, but especially for the factory. I told you I was fearing NDA.
Not your personal?
Not my personal, but mainly the NDA. I'm like, I want security for the factory and also for myself. What I wanted for my family. No, we can be kidnapped and so on. And then I want capacity to be expanded. We want to expand production because this thing is working and it's helping people. But the factory is small. He told me, okay, I'm going to link you to General Okech to handle that, and also Madam Nachobe to handle the issue of finances. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Yes. He kept on calling me every day.
Wow.
Every day he would call me to follow up on the matter. Now, I think that was on a Monday. On a Monday, I realized I'm going to begin meeting big people. So I'm like, let me go and do a COVID test myself. So I went with my wife in the morning and did a COVID test. But I got the results the following day. But by evening, I was getting weak. You know, I'd been taking that medicine for prevention. I would just take once a day, I thought I would forget. Then by evening, I started feeling weak, a lot of saliva in my mouth, I was getting tired, I got no smell for food. So I'm like, this might be also what?
COVID.
So my wife was like, so on Monday, I said, let me switch on to begin now treatment dose.
That same Monday?
Yes.
Was it the same Monday you had to meet NDA?
Yes, NDA. So I'm like, let me begin treatment dose now because this could be, I wait for results. So my wife was like, now doctor, professor, you must take modern medicine. I'm like, I'm not going to take modern medicine. I'm going to take the Kovidex. Let it show me to prove that what? It works. So when the results came on Tuesday, we confirmed that I had gotten the COVID. So I put myself on a dose of Kovidex, vitamin C, and antibiotics. That's all I used. So when then naturally called me on Tuesday, I'm like, you know what? I cannot meet you. Why? I'm unwell also. This virus attacked me. So like, then Professor, first use your medicine to cure yourself.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, yes, I'm using my medicine. Let it first cure me. Then I can come and meet you. When the president called me, I was open to him. No, this virus has caught me also, but I'm treating this with my medicine. Well, like, are you using only your medicine? I'm like, yes. And antibiotics and vitamin C. You're not using the modern formula. I'm like, no, I'm not using it. So it did not put me down. I just stayed at home for 10 days. Just the first 2 days, my oxygen level, I think, it was around 94, 95 there. I felt a little bit of increased heart rate, and then no appetite. A lot of saliva was in the mouth, mucus. Not asking me to produce a lot of mucus. When I began dropping the medicine, within 2 days, the mucus cleared, my airways opened, fever did not come, cough did not come. By day,
you didn't cough at all?
I did not cough at all. I did not get any fever at all. The medicine was working perfectly. I did not take Panadol, I did not take ibuprofen, no Dexa, no vitamin C, no zinc, no all those things. I was just taking my
your tea here, which you have served me,
and so on,
and pineapple,
Kovidex, vitamin C, and another form of mine called Atavo Plus to boost immunity. Those are the only things I used. By day 4, my appetite came back, my smell came back, I began eating. Energy began coming back. By day 5, I began doing exercise at home. Walking, the Socrates were seeing me walking around. Day 6, I was playing football from here with our people. Day 7, I could even jog around.
Wow.
I went and tested on day 10 and I was negative.
Incredible.
So the president called me. Said, he kept on following me every day. I'm like, I'm going to test on the day 10, then I'll let you know the results. When he called me, he said, did you go to test? I'm like, yes. And what are the results? I said, I'm now negative. He was so happy.
My goodness.
So happy. He said, you used our medicine? I'm like, yes. I never used the ivermectin, all those drugs they recommend. I only used he calls medicine from Kumam.
He said medicine from Kumam.
And that's what I use, plus vitamin C, and it means that the drugs that I use, we can make them locally here. The president was very happy. Very, very happy. I also felt very happy in my heart. So
at least it had treated you,
myself,
not any other person as a guinea pig.
You
were the guinea pig.
You see, when you fight a disease, it also fights you. The first person who won the world about COVID-19, a Chinese doctor, Li Wenliang, I think called Li.
Died from it.
He died from it. It killed him. Many people have developed medicine for who have fought diseases have been killed by
the same disease.
Yes, so it had come also to kill me. But Kovidex knocks it out. Kovidex knocked out. I know I'm an old man now. I'm 48 years, 47, wow. 48. So I'm also in a risk, and I'm not vaccinated.
You're not vaccinated?
I missed the vaccine because I was moving up and down. When the vaccine came, I failed to get it from Bahrain. I'm not vaccinated completely.
Now you should go. Otherwise, we'll send another village to chase after you like they did when you wanted to get your
tuberculosis. Yes, I'll go and get the vaccine when it's enough now.
So eventually the president said, this now works?
He did not say that, but when he confirmed when I treated myself, he was like, quickly go and link up with the Nachobe so they can give you money to expand. But up now I'm still waiting anyway.
Okay.
But we have tried to expand production. So then of course now I meet NDA. One of them was so tough on me, but they know me because I was the president of pharmacists in Uganda for the last 4 years.
Okay.
President of pharmaceutical society in Uganda. And while I was there, I actually initiated the production of sanitizers by PSU to fight COVID. Quality sanitizers. Even in Bara, we had begun last year because I wanted to contribute to this disease. So we began by producing sanitizers. You see, sanitizers are going to become so expensive. So we set up a production line in Bara University to supply the West at a low cost, and then also PSU to supply Kampala and another region. And we managed to contribute to bring the prices down of sanitizers. So NDA people now, they know me. And I've developed some medicine, many medicines before the which I have approved, but the mistake you have made is not to bring your documents to us. I said, but I was running against time.
It was life fast.
It was life now. You see, it reminds me of the Bible, Numbers chapter 16, I think from verses 46 to 50. When the plague began killing people, Moses told Aaron, put incense in the thing and put fire, put it and run. And when Moses ran, he stood between the plague and the people, and then the plague stopped. But around 40,000 already died. So Kovidex was like in my hand. God said, run with it.
Go to the middle of the
the plague and let people begin using it. So I told India it was not intentional. I'm a professional. I know the law. But this is like a time of life and death. I was going to, if I bring everything to you, it was going to take another 3 months to review because there's some problem at the moment that have taken 3 months, 6 months, they already give me results. But somehow when I posted on WhatsApp, it became viral. People began demanding, so NDA could work faster. So then they asked me, so that video I submitted data to them. They asked for more data. I submitted for them 10 more files. My team already generated a lot of data from Bara University in those 21 days now. I gave them all the data they required. More than they required actually for approval. Yeah, for approval. The following day, they sat and what? And approved it. They even went and checked the factory. They inspected the factory again the second time. They are very strict this time because
they wanted to be sure.
They want to be sure. So they didn't even tell me. They just went there, said, Patrick, was your factory? We'll come to inspection. I said, okay, go ahead. They checked all the files, every details, and they gave us a go ahead. So that is the story of Kovidex.
A very interesting story, Patrick. But it's a story that comes from a point of empathy on your part and a story of understanding the need to save a life before we go into the legalese and the red tape.
I mean, I'd take a risk. Risk of going to prison.
Risk of being deflocked from all the accolades you have won over the years.
But save people. And one thing I did was that I said I want this drug to be as cheap as possible.
That's what I was coming to. That we have seen instances in the last month where the little bottle of yours, how many milligrams is it?
20 mils.
20 mils is going for a whooping 50,000 plus.
But I really feel terrible for our country. There are people who don't have hearts for humanity. In the factory, we began with 3,000. Right now, it's only 5,000.
Shillings.
5,000 shillings. Even up to now, 5,000. I've resisted
someone
sales at 15,000, 20,000, 50, to 100. In Bara, they sold someone at 160,000. We sell at factory at 5,000 to pharmacies. 5,000. So we expect them to sell at most 7 or 10 maximum. Why should someone sell that more than 10,000 when you get at 5,000? Honestly speaking, that's greed. And up now, I still emphasize that let people get at most at 10,000.
There's another worry. The price is not actually the biggest challenge. Counterfeit.
Yes. Right now, that's the biggest challenge. But one is that we are emphasizing buy from a pharmacy or a NDA licensed outlet. Why? Because we supply pharmacies. Pharmacies cannot buy medicine hawked by people. Now, when you allow hawking, then then faking will come in. But when it's bought through licensed official places, those people cannot take in hawked medicine because they must keep records. If something goes wrong, you go back, you give me Kovidex and it did not work. So you blame that pharmacy. But also NDA, every day they're moving around pharmacies, picking samples, carrying out surveillance, and they keep informing me, Professor, I found this change of labels. Are you aware of it? I'm like, yes, we are changing because of the regulation aspect. So like the first label, we had to change because NDA advised us to change.
Okay.
Since we've not done full clinical trials, it told us now, first do the clinical trial, we can put in the aspect of COVID. So we had to keep changing the level to meet their demand and their requirements. So, but they keep surveillance to check in pharmacies, drug shops. Whenever they find a discrepancy, they inform me, they call me. They tell me, okay, that's the... So until now, I'm very sure there's no fake one, at least until now. If you get from a pharmacy, you will not get a fake one. But also I'm working with the multiplex. I'm going to meet them today to put a Q code. So you can use your phone to scan.
QR code.
Yeah, a thing called QR code.
Yes.
Yeah, you scan it, and then to show you that this is original Kovidex. Secondly, we were working with a local company to develop a mold that has our logo imprinted on the bottle.
On the bottle.
Oh, yes, okay. Jenna. So you see it with that. So for someone to make a fake one, you must go and make a mold.
The same mold.
The same mold.
The same.
Exactly, which is not an easy task. But I know, of course, some people can. But at least in that case, if we catch you, we know that you forged our mold. This is the first deal with you. So those are the two things we are doing. But also, we must increase production immediately. We are doing our best to increase production. We began like with we make like around 10,000 per day, but now we are 30,000 per day.
What kind of facility do you have in Entebbe that you talk about? Is it a private facility?
It's a private facility. You see, I've been having a dream to have a drug making company for a long time. So I've been using my own little resources and some of the funding I get from research. When I get money from research, I don't buy land.
You don't build malls.
Malls and arcades, no. I buy machines. And the good thing, 90% of the machines I use are made by Ugandans.
No.
I can't take you there one day, you see.
No, we certainly are going to go there.
They are all made by, I sit down with our engineers, there's an engineer called Ambrose. Ambrose. I sit down with him and we make our own machine.
Really?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
We make our own machines. So even right now with lockdown, we don't need machines. We can make them here ourselves. Any machine we need.
So in Entebbe, you're renting a facility.
I bought land in Akrite, small plot, and I built it for a factory.
Here in Kakungulu.
Kakungulu, not yet finished.
You're even saying Entebbe, it's not even
It's
Entebbe.
Kakungulu,
Exactly. Near our schools.
Yeah, exactly, near SMAC. So it's meant to be like a laboratory for doing research and making medicines. So the first floor is where we make it from. I designed it to be one-way floor as a factory. The second floor is not yet finished. The third floor is not yet finished. So it's an unfinished place. Exactly. If you go there, you laugh. This is where Kovidex is coming from. It's an unfinished
humble
place.
Beginning.
Yes, very, very humble. But it has good things inside. So I have now like around 50 people working there.
There is another challenge I see. I do not know the extent of how strong that challenge is, but maybe you could help me. Big pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, you see.
And of course, the hegemony in the world.
Yeah.
This is big business.
Yeah, it's a very big business.
And here you are coming to provide a solution.
Yeah.
At 10,000 Ugandan shillings, which is how many
first
dollars?
First of all, number one, it is big business, but also something that defeated them and killed them a lot. You know how Europeans died, even Americans. So who are you to say that you have a cure for it? Who are you to say that you have something that can help people for it? Of course, they're going to come with all their big guns. Yeah. But the good thing, everything we use in Kovidex, we make it locally. Everything from A to Z, including, I don't know why they import the bottles from anywhere, but at least I know if they import maybe from Kenya. But the medicine itself, it's made only everything in it. There is nothing we import. Everything is locally made here. So they can't stop us from making it for ourselves. That's one thing.
These plants, are you getting seedlings of them to ensure that maybe they are farmed or they are still growing wild?
Now one of them, in fact, two of them are grown.
Oh.
Even I grew some. I have some grown some. But now, then the other one takes years to grow. It's the one we get from the forest. But it is so abundant in Uganda. We cannot supply the entire world for 10 years.
Wow, that's very interesting and heartwarming to note.
Yes, so abundant in Uganda. Almost all the forests in Uganda have it. Northeastern Uganda, there's a lot towards Karamoja. Teso Karamoja is a lot that side, the sister of it. When you go southern, Budongo Forest, Mabira Forest, Kalinzi Forest. In fact, I was talking to Nema people because the president called Minister Beta Nyuar. Beta Nyuar linked me to the PS and then to the NFA boss. I met him. He gave me a letter, and also it's called Okelo now, Tom Okelo. Okura, I think, retired. So he gave me a letter, but also discussed with him availability of the plant. We're like, these plants are available in the forest. So whatever amount you need, we shall work with you to provide for the nation. Yeah, so the material is there. But also now we are beginning research on what we call tissue culture, tissue and cell culture. Now, with tissue and cell culture, you just need a small room like this to produce those compounds. You get the plant material, cells from the plant, and multiply them in a lab.
Okay.
So they produce the active compounds in a small lab. So that's what we are doing now. If it can be successful, then we cannot have to go to the forest.
To start cutting trees and see with a truckload of wood only to extract milligrams of...
But right now what we are doing, actually, one of them we use the leaves. Two of them actually leaves. The two plants are leaves. The third plant, we use the bark. So we harvest one side of the bark and leave the other side. You know the bark is like the skin. If you cut your skin, and you cover it, it grows again.
It grows again.
Yeah, yes. So we're not cutting the trees.
You just debug them,
then let it regenerate. Yeah, that's what I do.
The story of Kovidex is an interesting one. We came here to have a conversation with Dr. Ogwang
about my life
story, but we have spoken about the story of Kovidex. And I think it's very important because we're in the middle of a devastating second wave whose magic bullet seems to be resting in your able hands. And we would never have replaced the amount of information you've shared with us like we have done today. Because time is never usually an ally on our side. For tonight's edition, we'll call it the Kovidex edition. Okay. Where it's Kovidex story.
Yes.
Then Sunday, next
come
week,
for my life now.
Now it will be your life story, and we hope that you will be glad to stay here and share with us that.
I will have very interesting life
story. And that's when we will also play your music.
Okay.
For now, we'll allow you to play one song, just one song, as we say, for hearing our listeners.
Okay.
What song will that be?
Everyday Lord, I love to stand upon your word. Wow. That's my song.
You're such an incredible guy. you put everything in the trust of God. Of course, there's been a meme going around on social media. So we're putting all our hopes for COVID cure to scientists who believe in God.
Yes.
And many a times we are meant to believe that scientists don't believe in God. So when you find one like you who believes in God, then we get the comfort. That
I
must
read
be in the right
something.
hands.
Scientists without God become devils
Wow. They use science
to
to
do
cause
wrong,
harm.
cause harm. So every scientist needs God in them. Great scientists were godly. Isaac Newton, Einstein, Albert Einstein. They knew God
Oh, that's
and
incredible.
were guided by God to their discoveries.
That's why we haven't had
There's
a
a
full
voice.
flow of motion.
There's the voice. That voice that told me that this formula could be good for COVID. Which voice was that? It was not my knowledge. I had knowledge of the material, but there's a voice that spoke to me that time when I was in the hospital.
With your friend. And
Whose
said,
voice was that? It's God's voice.
as you've heard him, Dr. Patrick Ingao Ogwang, sharing the life story of Kovidex, that wonder drug that is curing COVID. At least there hasn't been any failure whatsoever. We take a break for tonight. As he's promised, we return next Sunday with him sharing with us his life story, his own life story of 48 years. And what I know for sure, and I'm looking forward to listening, just like I'm sure many of you are, is the life that his mother imparted on him. That's why all his pharmaceutical work, the brand name is Jenna, the name of his mother. Have a wonderful time. God bless you. Same time, same place next Sunday with Dr. Ogwang's life story.
Desert Island Discs.
What's in your list? You give me life and I can't explain just how what you mean to me now. You save me, Lord. You're better.
Desert Island Discs.